And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Scrumpy. Now, Scrumpy's been playing for a little over a year and a half and is a whale. And he basically knows what he's doing with arenas, regular arena, fleet arena. He can climb up to the top, but he wants to just have confirmation kind of on the Sith raid teams. Now, on the Sith raid teams, he already has basically all the teams that he needs, and I think that it's just going to be redundancy on the Sith raid. But there are three things that I noticed with his Sith raid teams that I wanted to bring to light, and since he asked for that, we're going to go over that. He also wanted to know the next couple of Zetas that he should be planning for, and that's actually going to be incorporated as well when we review these particular Sith raid teams. And then he also kind of wanted to know any holes in his game or any holes in his roster that he should maybe possibly be focused on, and I've got something for that. The last thing is the Houndstooth, beating the Houndstooth. And while I do want to address it in a video, I'm not going to address it in this video. I'm actually going to address it in another video on my main page, so everybody can kind of benefit from that particular video. So take a look at my Houndstooth video on how to beat it. I've got a couple of them by the time this video goes live. Now, Scrumpy, let's go ahead and get into the teams that you should be focused on. So the first, and most people already know, is resistance, and you've got all your resistance up to par. In fact, the modding looks really great. You've got them all maxed out, and you've got all of the necessary Zetas as well. So you're looking really, really good with resistance, and so that's the first team. You probably already knew that, but I wanted to just go through it section by section. Let's go to the next team. All right, I know, again, you probably already know Jedi are great. In fact, Jedi's great not just in Phase 1, but in other phases of the Sith raid as well. And when I was looking through, the modding looks really pretty good. You're going to want to evolve over to more offense mods for Grandmaster Yoda and Ezra Bridger with critical damage triangle, but the offense sets, because you're going to be able to get a lot more damage out of them out of the Sith raid. But you wanted to know about Zetas, and we're talking about Zetas, and so Grandmaster Yoda, kind of surprised you don't have battle meditation by now. So that is the #1 priority for not just the Sith raid, but for your entire roster in general. This would be the very next Zeta that I would place if this was my roster. So focus on battle meditation will definitely take this team to the next level. Let's move to the next team. And wow, oh wow, oh wow, you definitely care about the Sith raid. You've got Aurra Sing, and she can lead in Phase 3, or you could use Embo in Phase 2, and you're going to have to decide which one you want to lead your bounty hunters. You already have Bosk, and Bosk is a solid lead, but Aurra Sing in Phase 3, Embo in Phase 2, if they have their lead Zeta, it's pretty insane. So you're going to have to figure out which lead you're more comfortable with and which one you can get more damage out of, and then that's the one that I would Zeta. Now, if you feel like you don't have a ton of Phase 2 teams, then I would go Zeta Embo, and I would also finish his gearing. And if you feel like your Chex Mix team is kind of weak, or you're not getting as much consistency, and you want to take a little RNG out of that particular phase, then I would go with Aurra Sing and go into Phase 3 with these guys. But Phase 2 would definitely be Embo as the lead. So just decide which phase you want to use them in, and maybe you want to do both eventually as leads, just so you have that freedom to use both of them at different times. But you're going to have to make that decision, Aurra or Embo, but one of these two should definitely get a lead Zeta for your heroic Sith raid team, especially since you wailed out on both of them. Sith work really well in Phase 2 as well. Actually, pretty much any team works really well in Phase 2, and your Sith look great. You've got all the Zetas. Your modding looks decent, but you could evolve all of these guys over to offense mods. Definitely offense mods are going to get you a little bit more bang for your buck damage-wise coming from all these guys. In fact, Nihilus and Scion and Vader and Palpatine already do decent damage, but get their offense up, 700 to 800 plus on offense. And if it's like Scion and he does crit damage and stuff, still you can put a crit damage triangle on that, but use an offense crit damage triangle and an offense set, and then you can put in crit chance set if you'd like. Speed with these guys is going to be less important than other mod sets, and so you can really focus on like doing an offense set and a crit chance set. As far as the 5th, you can use either a non-Sith or you can use one of your Sith, and of them, probably Sith Trooper is just going to be the most durable, but Sith Assassin is going to speed your team up and be able to do more damage, and be able to kind of help with just the synergy of this team. And so turn meter engines are always good. Sith Trooper just kind of sits there, and you don't really need a tank in phase 2. So Sith Assassin is who I'd go with, and if that's the case, you would want to finish gearing Sith Assassin up. Also, Sith Assassin does have a ship that is now attainable through shipments, and so you very well might want to get her up because her ship is actually the anti-Houndstooth ship in the game. And so because of that, and you're interested in killing the Houndstooth, you may be interested in getting, since you're a whale, that ship through shipments and finishing off your Sith Assassin. Those are my 2 thoughts on that. Let's move over to the next team. Now, we all know Chex Mix is basically Rebel Team, and you've got all of your Rebels in order. You've got Commander Luke Skywalker, you've got Han Solo, Chirrut, and you even have Pow. And Pow's down here, and it doesn't have to be, you know this, doesn't have to be over Gear 8, really. Pow's fine. He's just there for the offense up, and Chex Mix works pretty well. If you're getting some consistency and you're getting, you know, a couple of million out of this team, then so be it. It will work sufficiently. Again, with your damage dealers, I'll actually... all 5 on this team, I would focus on offense mod set with crit chance as your 2 sets, and then as much offense as possible, especially on Han Solo. I would do a offense arrow, an offense triangle, and an offense cross. That's right, 3 offense with the natural offense on the top left. That's 4. And then I would also consider moving these 4 mods that I just talked about that are offense to a 6-dot mod first over everybody else, because that boosts or bolsters by like another 12% offense, which equates to about 12% more damage, 12 to 15% more damage in that Sith raid. That is huge for this particular team. And if you're able to bolster any of the other guys' offense, it's going to equate to even more damage for when Han Solo goes to stand alone. So I'm a bit jealous with your Imperial Troopers. You've got a Gear 12 7-star range trooper, and my range is at 5 stars. I'm farming him right now, but this looks really, really well. And in Phase 3, Imperial Troopers work really great. In fact, you can take your Death Trooper, of course, for Phase 3 over to Chex Mix, but the rest of your top row with General Veers, Colonel Stark, Magma Snow, and Range can definitely be utilized in Phase 3. And I'd actually put Shore Trooper in instead of Magma Trooper for the Phase 3 situation, so you have an auto taunter to absorb that isolates, so you can make sure that you get your topple and get you should be able to get a minimum of 2 topples, possibly 3, and with the amount of damage that these guys can put out, it's significant. You should be able to get quite a bit with this team as well. This team, though, all in all, just like Chex Mix, looks really great. Your modding looks really pretty good. And the last team I'm going to talk about is Night Sisters. You can use them in Phase 3 or Phase 4. And that leads me to my next Zeta. We talked about Battle Meditation for Yoda. We talked about either Embo or Aurra Sing lead Zeta for your team, whether you're going to use them in Phase 2 or Phase 3. And now we're going to talk about Night Sisters. Now you have Asajj Ventress Zeta, and that's great for a defensive team in Territory Wars or for a Phase 4 team at the beginning of Phase 4 Sith Raid. But if you want to use these guys on offense in Territory Wars, or you want to use them in Phase 3 for a massive damage, then you need a Mother Talzin Zeta lead, and you don't have that. And so as much as it pains you to have 2 leadership abilities in one small faction, I highly recommend this be your 3rd and most important priority on Zetaing. Definitely get Battle Meditation, then your Bounty Hunter lead for whatever phase you want, and then Mother Talzin, so it gives you more freedom to determine which phase you're going to actually be utilizing these in. The rest of it looks really, really good. Now, there's a possibility you'll probably have to eventually move up your Night Sister Zombie to Gear 12 eventually. Don't worry about it for now. Paper Zombie still works, but soon they will have that rolled out, probably within the next 30 days. So just keep that in the back of your head. Now, you wanted to know about the Zetas. We talked about that. Sith Raid, we talked about that. How to beat Houndstooth, that's going to be the Sith Assassin's ship, plus my videos that I have out on how to beat it. The last thing was just holes in your roster, and I looked through your roster, and it looks really good. Obviously, for a whale for a year and a half, you've got really great development. But as I roll through here, there was one thing that I noticed as I was going through. Obviously, Wampa, you're probably developing right now. There was one faction or one group that I noticed that was kind of near the bottom, and I went, and that is right here. That is young Lando Calrissian, Vandor Chewbacca, Kira, L3, and of course, young Han Solo. And so that is the new Solo Toons, and they're now all farmable. And really, you don't have a whole lot of gearing or starring for anybody in the game, except for what you choose now. All of your Sith Raid teams are good. You're great for Territory Wars offense teams and defense teams. And so now you're all about expanding into that whale territory of teams, and the Solo Toons are great for territory wars, territory battles. They give you a lot of viability and durability in other areas of the game. They actually do work really well in the Sith Raid as kind of a filler team for either Phase 4 or Phase 2, so there's that as well. And this team, I believe, is going to be needed sometime in the next couple of months for an event. And the reason for that is because they made them free to play farmable and immediately put out a pack to speed up the farming of all these characters. And they did that with the Phoenix, and everyone said, well, who in the heck would they use Phoenix for? Like, there's not even a legendary character for Phoenix. And then a couple of weeks later, everybody was crying because Thrawn was coming into the game and Phoenix was the unit or faction they were going to be using. And so whether or not I'm right, this is still a solid faction across the board in the game. The prepared team works very well, again, in territory wars and battles. And so I would make this kind of your go-to faction right now. Put them all in your favorites and really start chewing through, getting their star levels up and their gear level up. And then as far as a bonus Zeta, if you were going to Zeta any of them, I would Zeta Vandor Chewbacca. He's got the best Zeta of those 5. You don't need Kiras, you don't need L3s, you don't need Landos, and you don't need Han Solo. By the way, with this team, you can get solid damage. In fact, I've seen solo videos with the young Han Solo in hat. So if you want to have a little bit of fun in other lower end raids, you can also use some of these characters in that realm as well. But all in all, your roster looks very, very solid, and that's the only additional thing I would say as far as holes is just the Solo Toons. Focus on them and Zeta Vandor when you get a chance, but he's the lowest priority. Make sure Battle Meditation, your Bounty Hunter lead, and then Mother Talzin lead gets done first. So Scrumpy, this looks really great. I hope this video helps a lot of people who are watching. I hope it helps you as well. If you have questions, hit me up privately on our private Discord chat. And everybody else, if you have ideas for Scrumpy for the Sith Raid, leave them in the comments down below and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.